Hello, welcome back. So today I'm going to talk to you about a deck that I'm not even going to attempt to say the name of. It's an Egyptian deck that was put out by US Games in 1984. Um, so the deal with this deck, the thing that intrigued me about it is, firstly, the deck looks really cool. Um, it has this like sort of metallic-y gold, but like all of the cards are like blocked out into three sections, and they're all different fun colors, and it just looks like a cool deck. These are the backs, just like, again, just really cool, simple little backs. But the thing that I didn't understand was why it is so popular that it sells for over $200 constantly. I mean, constantly. I've never really seen it aside from this time. I mean, this deck in particular, and I won it in an auction on eBay, so it was just good timing for me, really. So I did not spend that much money on it. I didn't understand what the appeal, aside from aesthetically, what the appeal is, because it does not follow a particular system of any kind. It has like nothing like you would imagine. The only thing really that is reminiscent of the tarot is that it's 78 cards. Aside from that, we have all the standard major arcana. Some of them have been changed, some of the titles. And then we get into the minors, and the minors just start counting. So every card has a number, and it just goes to 78. There are no suits, there are no courts, there are no anything other than just all the way straight through. So I did a little research again, because there's lots of debate about the tarot, if it is Egyptian. I think most people can agree that the earliest deck that there is an Italian deck from the 15th century, I believe. But it's always fascinating to me when people say that it came from Egypt. And this little quote out of the Little White Book, which is amazing, kind of sheds a little light on like that theory. So, in 1781, Antoine Court de Gebelin, Gebelin. Don't really know if I said that right, but whatever. He was quoted as saying that the tarot is the Book of Thoth, and that Egyptians, in the face of the destruction of their temples, disguised all of their knowledge into just like a simple deck of playing cards. And so the tarot contains all of the arcane knowledge of all of the ancients. They said ancients. Take that for what it is worth. There's no more information besides the ancients. So let that be ancient people, ancient gods, ancient theories, just the ancients. So the deck incorporates Egyptian symbolism and mythology, and it matches the archetypes of the tarot with Egyptian figures. and it's both a tool for divination and also a record of all Egyptian mythology. So it's really cool. Each card deals with a particular Egyptian myth, and the cards have symbols on them. I've drawn a little diagram, so bear with me. I'm not going to look at the camera, but I wanted to be able to accurately tell you about them. So the majors and the minors have different little symbols on them, but we'll just start with the majors. So at the top of the majors, right here on every card, is a sigil. And then to the left is a hieroglyph. And then to the right is what the book calls a magic number, which is from the Key of Solomon the King, translated by MacGregor Mathers. I couldn't find any information about that, so I don't have any information to give you other than that it just said a magic number. And then at the bottom on the left, we have the planet. And then next to the planet is the zodiac sign, the title of the card, obviously. And then we have a Hebrew letter and then the number of the card. So that is the breakdown of every one of the majors. And then when we get to the minors, you'll see no suit, no information. The hieroglyph is at the top in the middle. And then to the left is the Hebrew letter. And then to the right is the magic alphabet. Unclear, again, what that means. And then at the bottom, on the left, is the Arabic number, which corresponds to the magic alphabet. So these somehow correlate, but I don't know. There's no explanation for that. Next to that is the Roman letter for the card, the title, and then the planet next to the card number. So this is card number 29. Obviously, that's the moon. Yeah. So that's the breakdown of the cards. It is cool. The concept is cool. I'm still not totally sure I would use it in a reading because that's a lot of information to need to know and to need to figure out and to try and memorize and to be able to associate on the spot like that. So I don't know that I would use it in a reading that way. I have, however, before I knew what all of those things meant, I did use it more like an oracle because all of the cards have a little what you could say are keywords or titles, like this is expressiveness. So I have pulled cards like an oracle style. Yeah, so you can find this deck on eBay. I've seen it on Etsy. It is sometimes hard to come by, and it is usually very pricey. And for what it's worth, if you weren't interested in all of those things that I just said, or you didn't just collect tarot decks, and if you were buying a deck, if you're buying it with the intention of using it, then maybe it'll be worth that to you. It kind of just depends on what you're interested in. It is a cool deck. You can find it. You kind of just have to look and see what you're willing to pay for it. So yeah, I'll flip the camera and do a little walkthrough. Alright, so here is the deck. I am not going to try to butcher and pronounce that name, so this is what you're looking for. There is the side, the bottom, the other side, the top, and the back. And let's open it up and let you see. So the box does have like just an open hole. It was covered by this extra card. Okay, so I'll just put that aside for now, and it comes with 2 extra cards. And let me just grab... That is the backs. Here is... Oh, I guess I'll put it on the front. So it's taller than a standard US Games, but it's also narrower, maybe by 1/8 of an inch. So, I mean, in person, it looks and it feels a lot longer. I don't know why, but yeah. So, if you get this deck, I would recommend making sure that it has the book, because the book has all of the information that you could possibly need. This is a first edition, but it gives information about Egyptian mythology, hieroglyphs, and then information about the tarot. And then here is information about all of the zodiac signs. And then it goes into the majors, and then into the minors. And if you didn't have these first 2 pages about the deck, you wouldn't know what any of the symbols on the cards meant. So, there is that. And without further ado, let's move right into the flip through. So again, there are no suits, there are no court cards, there is only this little, this just like straight all the way through. So, again, just to refresh, we have a sigil right in the middle at the top. These are for the majors. Right here, we have the magical alphabet. At the bottom, we have the card number. Next to that, the Hebrew letter, the title, the zodiac sign, the planet sign, and then at the top on the left is a hieroglyph. So, we have the magician, the priestess, the empress, the emperor. If you know about Greek mythology, then you'll recognize some of these things depicted in the symbols. I don't know a ton about it, so I'm not going to be very helpful when it comes to like what is depicted in it. But yeah. And all of the cards, as you can see, are separated into 3 sections. I think that each section represents mind, body, and spirit. I'm not sure which. Like, body, I think, obviously, is the middle part. But I don't know if mind and spirit are top and bottom, or spirit on the bottom, mind on the top. So, Chariot, Justice, the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune, Strength. It almost looks like she's feeding. Lion. The Hanged Man. Immortality. Temperance. Passion. The Obelisk. The Star. The Moon. The Sun. Resurrection. Transformation. And then the Fool is last. Okay, so on the minors, it is the top is a hieroglyph. To the right is the magical alphabet, and then the number on the bottom right is the number that coordinates to that magical alphabet letter. Then we have the Roman letter, the zodiac, the number of the card, and at the top we have the Hebrew letter. So from here on out, there are no suits, there are no courts, it's just going to be a countdown to 78. So, the Weaver, the Navigator. Obviously, the titles have nothing to do with the regular tarot either, because they don't. They don't. The Unexpected, Uncertainty, Domesticity, excuse me, Exchange, Impediment, Magnificent, and the colors are really cool. The colors are a big part of what drew me into this, honestly. They're like neon without actually being neon, and that gold is really cool. And there's just so much depth. Some cards look really dusty, some look really bright. And I've never seen a full flip through of this. I don't know why. I guess the people that have it really enjoy using it and not necessarily showing it to people. And I think it's really interesting that this deck, it claims that it encompasses all of Egyptian mythology, which is really interesting that you can even think about it, because Egyptian mythology, when I think of that, I think it's like this vast amount of information. Like, it doesn't seem like something you could just contain within 78 cards. And I think that this deck was originally released, I want to say it was originally released in Spain, maybe? Or somewhere else, and then Stuart Kaplan, of course, like he does, got a hold of it and released it. But you can see, based off of some of the little titles, how it would be easy to use this deck as an oracle and not necessarily as a tarot. I don't know, I can't think right off the top of my head what decks this would lend itself well to if you used it as an oracle. But it certainly is unique and cool. and I don't think I've seen anything really like it. I did do a little research to see if there were any available online right now, and Amazon has a version of this in Spanish. I'm not sure. It's definitely not the US Games one. I think it must be like a bootleg copy or something like that. But Amazon says that they have 10 of them. The titles are in Spanish, but if you know Spanish, then maybe that wouldn't be a problem for you. Or if you just wanted it, not necessarily to use, but just to have, you could potentially get it. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed this, and happy hunting. I hope you find it if you're interested.